This is a Royal Doulton Autumn Breezes figurine, HN1913. That's her model number, and she was produced by Royal Doulton between 1939 and 1971. She actually has a twin, another Autumn Breezes, which again wore a green skirt, but I think had a pink blouse. And this one is in fact actually slightly rarer than that HN1911 model, because that was produced until 1976, I think. So 5 years longer than this one. So Autumn Breezes here is very much a vintage piece. Although saying that, rather scarily, I was born before the last one of these was produced, so I guess that makes me vintage, which is always a little worrying when you're trying to cling on to your youth. But anyway, she's a very pretty figurine, as you can see, and in very good condition. I can't help but think when I see her that she for some reason I've got this bizarre connection with her and Gone with the Wind, with Vivien Leigh playing Scarlett O'Hara. Now obviously Gone with the Wind was more to do with the American Civil War than it was about getting caught in a autumnal gust of wind, but for some reason she just reminds me of that. In fact, I'm absolutely convinced that Vivien Leigh wore a very similar dress in Gone with the Wind. I'm sure that's why it reminds me of that. And she just seems to have that look to me, that sort of Southern Belle look to her. So, I mean, interestingly, that film was released in 1939. I just checked, so I think it's possibly a minor coincidence. I don't know, maybe it's not a minor coincidence. Maybe it was a commercial decision that this should be called Autumn Breeze, and it came out at the same year as Gone with the Wind. But I guess that is mere speculation on my part. I doubt Autumn Breezes here is as vain and self-centered as Scarlett O'Hara, or at least we can only hope she isn't. Although obviously she's as feminine and as attractive, and probably aware of her feminine charms. She's a very, very nice piece. She's in very, very good condition. I don't know how she feels about being called Sugar. I know that Scarlett O'Hara didn't like that very much. But anyway, looking at her base, she's got a very interesting base, and it's left me mildly perplexed, I have to admit. She doesn't have a registration number on here. Now, these hadn't a registration number. This particular model had a registration number of 835666, and basically from the 30s onwards, Doulton wrote the registration number just underneath the name. So this is mere speculation on my part, but I can only assume that maybe she was an early model, an early production model of Autumn Breezes, and you know, because of that, still didn't have a registration number, but that is complete speculation on my part. What I can say with certainty is that the writing is in the pre-1959 style, with the slightly more ornate serif font, which was abandoned for a more streamlined font after 1959. And having compared it to a few other figurines from the late 30s, to me, she seems that she's probably from the late 30s, early 40s. She's got a 9 written next to the Royal Doulton emblem. Now, if you know anything about the coding systems, a 9 would typically indicate 1936. The problem we have here is obviously that Autumn Breezes wasn't actually produced until 1939. So it's a little bit nebulous. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, it may be the person who painted her absent-mindedly put a 9 there for thinking of the date of 1939, after he'd finished, or she had finished painting her. But you know, it's odd. It's odd that she doesn't have a registration number, which would seem to indicate that she's probably quite an early production model, and she certainly has the pre-1959 style of writing and the handwritten HN number. So I would bet a few pounds on her being a very early 1939-40 model, but I can't state that with total certainty. But I can state categorically that she doesn't date later than the 50s. So she's very much a vintage piece. She's in beautiful condition. In fact, she's in absolutely immaculate condition. There's not the slightest flaw to her. She's weathered the gale rather well. She's in stunning condition from top to bottom, and she's actually one of the bone china as opposed to porcelain figurines. So she's very, very nice, and she has a very reflective glaze to her. She's yeah, a very charming piece. So hard to know if she was based on Gone with the Wind, but certainly a very, very charming figurine. And this one in particular is in just perfect condition. Not the slightest thing wrong with her. As good as the day she was made. So there you have it. She's available exclusively on our website at Timeless-Antiques.co.uk, and just looking to find a nice draft-free home somewhere. So yeah, thank you very much for watching.